UBC, brought to you by Airtel, the smartphone network.
It is Wednesday, the 17th day of April 2019. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV. First though, let's have a look at stories that have unfolded and made headlines at this hour. In our news tonight, Uganda Airlines planes on their flight to Entebbe. Colleges with few students, teachers to be closed, that is according to the Ministry of Education. Parliament may take over UBC's Magic 100 FM frequency. And in sports, World Para Badminton Games players upbeat. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming live on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language is Mugalu Mohammed and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma. Now, the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, has said teachers training institutions with less than 100 student teachers will not be allowed to operate in the country. She says the government has introduced a comprehensive national teacher policy that's aimed at professionalizing the teaching profession and improving the quality of teachers in the country. Now, this was during the release of Grade 3 Teachers Certificate in Primary Teacher Education examinations that was held here in Kampala. We have more in this report.
The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has called upon all teachers and partners in education to support the implementation of the National Teachers Policy. The policy aims at improving the quality of teachers in the country by advocating for the establishment of a Teachers' Council to regulate the profession and the National Institute of Teachers Education to manage continuous professional development of teachers. Mrs. Janet Museveni also warned private institutions that do not meet the teacher training standards to style up.
We should all be on the lookout and see these teacher training institutions which really don't qualify even by just looking at them, because they do a bad job for our children. They produce half-baked professionals, and that is not what we are looking for, especially in teachers.
She was happy to note on the improvement of performance in the first cohort of teachers admitted under the admission requirement of at least a credit in both English and mathematics. The Vice-Chancellor, Chambogo University, Professor Eli Katunguka, says emphasis has been put on training of specialized and competent primary teachers during the review of the curriculum.
We are glad that these results are coming earlier than what used to be in the past.
The academic registrar, Dr. Anne Begumisa, says out of the 7,304 candidates who sat for the 2018 Grade 3 Teachers Certificate in Primary Teaching Education examination, 3,295 were male, while 4,025 were female.
Worst performing colleges are privately owned, with many challenges in as far as staffing, resources, management are concerned.
The best performing primary teachers colleges were Rukunjiri PTC, Canon Apollo PTC, Mukujikoa PTC, Bushenyikoa PTC, and Bulera PTC. Remigius Imbonye, UBC News.
Remy, for that report. They're now from Kampala. Let's go to Quebec, Canada, where aircraft manufacturer Bombardier Commercial could consider investing in Africa by establishing a maintenance center. Now, this is if the request expressly made by the Minister for Works and Transport, Monica Zuba-Ntege, before the Bombardier team at the handover of aircraft to Uganda is anything to go by. Now, it is regarded essential, especially for the now only aircraft type, CRJ-900, possessed by Uganda on the entire African continent. Onyango Jackson reports from Quebec.
At last, the moment awaited with pomp was here for Uganda officially to take delivery of our very first aircraft from the Canadian manufacturer Bombardier at the production center in Quebec, Mirabel, Canada. The momentous occasion, which awakens the pride the country last had about 20 years ago, was concretized by putting pen to paper officially, transferring the deed to Uganda Airlines on behalf of the airline undertaken by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works and Transport, Wasu Abagea, and Fred Koma, the president of Bombardier, on behalf of the manufacturer. For many gathered here, it was spellbinding coming this close to the aircraft sold by Bombardier as CRJ-900 Atmosphere, and the first of the kind on the African soil. Is this the kind of the aircraft you expected?
Yeah, definitely. This is the kind of aircraft that was shown to us in the pictures right before about last year. And what we saw then is what we are seeing now. But now the feel is even much better.
Okay. Legacy space is quite good and enough. Even in the economy, it's quite wide enough.
It is beautiful, but I believe this is going to encourage regional tourism.
With about 4 flight hours amassed during the test flight exercises, Uganda Airlines Chief Pilot Captain Michael Etiang couldn't agree any less with Bombardier's president as regards the novelty of this aircraft.
Designed the CRJ-900 for excellent cost efficiency and network flexibility, and are confident that the CRJ-900 will contribute to Uganda Airlines' growth and success. Since its launch, the CRJ series family of regional jets has led to the development of regional markets around the world. The CRJ has revolutionized aviation with proven efficiency, reliability, and profitability.
This aircraft has only done a flight test, which was part of the requirements for the company accepting it. And as such, this aircraft barely has 5 hours, this and the other one. So I want to reassure this is a brand new aircraft. You can see for yourself where we are. This is a factory.
This CRJ-900 aircraft is a 76-seater, configured into business with 12 seats and economy 64 seats.
Class has 12 seats and large overhead bins. These are larger than earlier models and allow for wheels-in first placement of your bags. Ample space at par with other aircraft in this class. And seats that are comfortable enough for the larger size public out there. I'm modestly weighted, but I sit comfortably here. Of course, there are people with larger bellies, and they'll be comfortable too.
Being the first of its kind on the continent, critics have pointed out that it may turn out to be difficult to maintain. But the Minister Zuba-Ntege sees an opportunity here.
Operation of CRJ-900 is a new experience for Uganda Airlines. It will need your continuous support to enhance competitiveness of the CRJ-900 in Africa. Therefore, you should consider developing a maintenance and training facility in the region. I can confirm that Uganda will be very happy to partner with you in developing such a facility for the use of Uganda Airlines and other airlines in the region. We are ready to discuss and conclude with you the modalities of the establishment of such a facility in none other than Uganda.
Pilots scheduled to fly the aircraft already registered by the Civil Aviation Authority as 5XKOB and 5XEQU start the journey on Saturday 19th through Iceland, Netherlands, Greece and Cairo in Egypt before final leg to Uganda with touchdown and water salute activities at Entebbe International Airport expected on Tuesday at 3 p.m.
This aircraft shall serve Uganda coffee and matoke and kalo.
Bombardier has an order for 2 other aircraft planned for delivery in July, a period set for the commencement of the commercial flights, and the last one in September same year. After all has been said, people have talked, but now words have turned into action, and this today has been a statement by Ugandan government showing that it is serious about the revival of a national airliner. Onyango Jackson, reporting for UBC TV from Canada.
And of course, next week on Tuesday is the D-Day when we expect those planes to touch base here in Uganda. Now, Parliamentary Committee on Information and Communication Technology has proposed increased funding for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. The Vice Chairperson ICT Committee, Paul Amuru, wants increased support for UBC to enable the corporation play its role of a national broadcaster. Now, this was during an interface between the committee and UBC management, where final plans to surrender to Parliament one UBC radio frequency were also disclosed.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation will not surrender the main UBC radio frequency of 98.0 as earlier reported because of historical reasons. Instead, it will be Magic 100 FM. This is according to what was disclosed by the chairperson of the ICT Committee of Parliament.
And UCC had written to UBC to surrender one of the frequencies they have. This frequency which they wrote to UBC to surrender is a historical frequency. It's the one where Uganda was given independence, 98.0. So UBC says that one there for historical reasons. Maybe we cannot give it, but however, I want to thank UBC because they've had a very, very, very good change of heart. They are ready to surrender that frequency to Parliament, so that Parliament can also have a radio up and running.
This, however, is not conclusive, as discussions are still ongoing on whether to front a partnership or full ownership of the radio by Parliament.
So is it possible to say, okay, fine, Parliament would want to have this frequency for 9 hours a day? Then what happens to the rest of the hours? So there are several options. Either Parliament runs this frequency for some hours, whichever hours that Parliament might deem fit. Then we sit and say, the other hours, what do we do?
The Parliament will run short of votes. So I think what you need to do is put a price on your frequency. And say, is the way you have this should be management decision. Decide that since you are interested in this, because UBC can also take an action and withdraw because are you paying?
However, as discussions on that continue, one fact remains visible, that UBC needs more funding to enable its effective operations.
The issue of revamp of UBC must be completed. And it's already regrettable that that process has slowed down. The 20 billion that was initially earmarked for this, 18 was passed by Parliament, 18 billion, all the 12 was released. Even part of the 12, about 4.2, was garnished to cover up the past debts. So this committee, we are committing to looking very hard within the sector budget to ensure that we find budgetary support.
Report compiled by Susan Naonga for UBC.
From Kampala, let's travel east to Mbale, where a combined effort of UPDF, police and prisons personnel have completed the construction of 101 houses for the recent Bududa landslide victims. In all, 900 houses are to be built in Bunambuti, Lower Bulambuli, in a phased manner to house 6,300 persons living in a risky environment. Now, there are close to 100,000 persons due for relocation from hanging ridges and cliffs of Mount Elgon area ridges.
101 houses. UPDF we are given 75 houses. Then Uganda Police Force has been given 26.
101 houses constructed for Bududa landslide victims in Bunambuche, Lobrambli district are ready for occupation. Construction of the houses undertaken by Uganda People's Defense Forces, Uganda Police Force, and Uganda Prisons personnel was launched by the Prime Minister, Dr. Akana Rugonda, January this year.
It's going to be, in our view, a very successful and model program, and shows that a country like Uganda should not have people who have nowhere to live or somewhere to stay. This is going to be the home of our people who have been in this problem. So we are happy with this program, a program initiated by the President, supported by Cabinet and Parliament and the whole government, a program we are going to energetically and resolutely implement.
An aerial review of the 101 Bunambuche houses has quickly turned the area into an organized urban settlement complete with a road network, electricity, and a greener environment around the area.
So this is going to be the first village in Uganda where nobody is sleeping in a less than a permanent house. The population who are going to be resettled there are going to be given advanced technology for production. Plot 10 will be reserved for production only. Houses will be in plot 93 and plot 94.
Another 800
Plot 10
houses
is one-
are also yet to be built on this chunk of land, measuring 2,868 acres, and another plot also in Murambuche, Lobrambli district, to house 6,300 persons. Information available at the Department of Disaster Preparedness and Management indicates that the houses were built, roofed, and fitted with doors in a record time by Uganda's combined security forces efforts.
The 75 houses UPDF has been working on, and Uganda Police Force 26 houses are all roofed, all plastered. The works which are now in progress are in the floor,
and we hope by next week, by the end of next week.
Though the rains are already here.
The rains are soon coming, and that is why the urgency of ensuring relocation happens is top on the agenda of government. At the moment, I cannot give you the exact date that on Monday they will come, but I can tell you that from the plan and from the urgency of ensuring that what is required as the first basic minimum of services in place are put here is what drives and informs the determination of government to make sure that that actually happens.
Each household will be given 3 acres of land for agriculture, a safe water point, a latrine, and other social amenities. Health units, schools, and recreation facilities are also to be set up as part of the emergency plan. Haimana Deo, reporting for ABC News, Bunambuche.
Development agencies have underscored the need for inclusion of persons with disabilities in agribusiness and market-oriented ventures. The head of the UK Department for International Development, Francesca Steelston, wants government and policymakers to reduce barriers that hinder participation of PWDs in agriculture. She echoed this during the Disability in Agribusiness Study Dissemination event that was organized by Newtech MD here in Kampala.
A new study has found that visually and mentally impaired people are less likely to grow crops in the quest to embrace farming activities. This is because their representation in weeding, transport and planting as practical aspects of agriculture is still wanting.
By increasing persons with disabilities' visibility as key economic players within the society, and having people with disability more visible within society through their engagement in agribusiness markets, they will be fast-tracking social inclusion of persons with disability.
Even though those with physical and hearing disabilities have equal representation across agricultural activities in comparison with their able-bodied counterparts, more needs to be done.
It is critically important that we, governments, policymakers, businesses, civil society, all of us, prioritise the implementation of the recommendations that are being presented today and reduce the barriers that continue to hinder the participation of those with disabilities and scale up inclusion activities, not just for northern Uganda, but across the whole country.
The number of people with disability in northern Uganda is relatively high, yet they are economically active, they have land, some of them are able to do farming, and we thought they should be included into market system. This is the reason why we wanted to find out how can they be included in a way that they can make money and make it in a sustainable manner.
It is because of such reasons that Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is in the process of reviewing the legal framework for PWDs in Uganda.
After that, we shall give recommendations for those that are within a ministry that need to be reviewed. We shall begin with those. But then others from other ministries, we shall recommend on areas that need to be reviewed to ensure that disability issues are mainstreamed.
In the meantime, the disabled community has been challenged to embrace agricultural trainings to better their farming skills.
Apart from the farmers whom I've visited in the villages, I have not seen even a single group coming to learn about cassava production as a group of persons with disability.
We can work together and increase the number of people who are participating in these programs, especially those ones which are making them economically better.
Whether we see and know persons with disabilities, I think that is still a challenge. True, many have gone through these institutions, many are there, but perhaps you don't know whom we are looking for, and perhaps you don't know whom we should be including.
The United Kingdom's Department for International Development, in partnership with NUTEC MD, has prioritized 4 strategic pillars for the disabled community in agribusiness by 2023. The success of education, social protection, economic empowerment and humanitarian action will be measured over 5 years to ensure inclusiveness of the disabled in farming. Henry Okurut, UBC.
21 minutes after 10 in the studios of UBC TV. News Tonight will now take a short break, but we'll return with so much more. Do stay with us.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Welcome back from that very short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Now, Uganda Prisons Service has launched its first ever timber seasoning machine that is expected to boost their production of quality timber and facilitate quick delivery of furniture to their customers. Now, according to the Commissioner General of Prisons, Canon Dr. Johnson Byabashaija, this will go a long way in making prison services perform to their fullest.
Last year, President Museveni ordered all ministries, departments and agencies to buy quality furniture from Uganda Prison Services. However, realizing this dream has been hampered with lack of capacity to satisfy the current demand.
1, 2, 3.
The new timber seasoning machine launched by the Commissioner General of Prisons, Johnson Byabashaija, has come in handy to speed up the process at a cheaper cost.
Because now you see, the other time I was using an excuse of having no resources. I was appealing to the president. Now he gave us the money. Not so.
We have been using approximately 40 million to dry 2,000 pieces of timber. 2,000 times 2,000 pieces times 20,000, which is 40 million. But now we have estimated, and our total production cost will be about 2.5 for each round of seasoning timber.
Munanura Robert, Commissioner General Prisons Industries, says they plan to acquire a second factory outside prisons for purely commercial purposes and to ease business, something the Commissioner General Byabashaija agreed on.
We realize that, yes, our clients, who are the general public, sometimes find it very hard and strenuous to access prisons because of the security details. So we think that once we put a workshop outside the normal prison setting, then they will be able to access it. And because of that, then the work will go on. But also, sometimes we need to execute orders pretty fast. And so sometimes we may need to hire outside labor or civilian labor. If we did that, we cannot deploy them in our prisons. So it would be better if we hired them also to use them in workshops which are situated outside the prisons.
Byabashaija said orders of over 30 companies have stalled due to limited capacity, urging his officers to actualize the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy.
I want to assure you that we have the commitment, we have the motivation, we have the technical know-how, and we have the resources to make sure that this boom and the directive of His Excellency, which he gave us as prison service, to realize what we have put ourselves to do.
The Mayor Nakawa Division, Ronald Balimwezo, said this is a reminder for government to put emphasis on technical education.
Eno naye bagitwalinga university titendekero erigenda okukyusa abantu abadde babiri okuba nti bava mu prisons muno nga balina ne kye basobola okwekolera bave mu mpisa ezembi babeere nga basobola okuyamba ekonomi y'eggwanga okukula.
The whole project cost the prison services 598 million Uganda shillings, and according to authorities, government has earmarked 4 billion shillings, up from the 200 million shillings next financial year, to boost their production. Bernard Liga, UBC.
Uganda Muslim Supreme Council has opened up a case against continued impersonation by unscrupulous people who are soliciting money from Muslims and other Ugandans, alleging that they are selling tickets for attending the inaugural lecture series of the world Muslim scholar and preacher. Now, the complaint that's lodged at Old Kampala Police Station indicates that these conmen are led by a one Adnan Amin Bawoga. Now, the Council's Secretary General Haji Ramadan Mugalu asks Ugandans to attend the planned World Muslim Public Lecture, which is slated for the 23rd of June 2019.
We are trying to clarify on visit makers' visit to Uganda. Uganda Muslim Supreme Council has noted with concern that some unscrupulous people are soliciting money from innocent Muslims and other Ugandans, alleging that they are selling tickets for attending the inaugural lecture series of the world-renowned Muslim scholar and preacher, His Eminence Mufti Menk of Zimbabwe, Mufti Ismail Menk of Zimbabwe at Nambole Stadium. However, Uganda Muslim Council wants to categorically state that this is not true. Whoever does so is out of order, because the inaugural lecture at Nambole Stadium slated for 23rd June at Nambole Stadium is free.
Haji Ramadan Mughal, who is the Council's Secretary General there, shedding more light on that conference. Now, in a bid to change lives and treating of diverse diseases, Mukono Hospital has embarked on research for safer, cleaner and superior technologies, equipping the facility with state-of-the-art equipment, including a fully furnished theatre, outpatients department, a private clinic, a female, male and children's awards. Now, the project, estimated to cost $3.4 million will uplift access to health services to the residents of Mukono and the neighboring towns. Toyota Uganda has announced a partnership package with Rotary Uganda towards the Mukono Hospital project to a tune of $10,000 as corporate social investment.
The communities in Mukono is quite a large area because it does have infrastructure for health, but it's not adequate. And therefore you have all these people who have diseases, simple diseases like malaria, like cough, treatable diseases, and then you have the non-communicable diseases. Those are widespread. So we would like to make a change and see that our communities live a better life by offering service as Rotary, but in partnership with Toyota Uganda.
Firstly, as part of our corporate social responsibility, we aim to give back to society in the areas that we operate. So we are in Mukono district and this is our head office. So this initiative of doing a hospital in Mukono and to make it affordable to people primarily in an area that we operate. So this was primarily our motivation.
For the first time in Uganda, we are launching a virtual online trade show. Can you imagine having a trade show on your PC, on your mobile phone, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year? Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
Business news now, and the Minister of Energy and Uganda National Bureau of Standards have launched a new energy standard ISO 50001 for big energy consumer organizations with the aim of encouraging them to commit to efficiency. The Acting Director, Energy Resources Development, Minister of Energy, James Barnabe Isingoma, says this will go a long way in eliminating misuse and wastage, hence increased profitability.
Businesses that are wasting energy are reducing profitability and causing avoidable pollution through increased carbon emissions, which contributes to climate change. The Director, Green Growth Institute for Africa and Europe, Dexpos, says Uganda Green Growth Strategies recognizes that growth in energy efficiency should eliminate misuse of energy.
Greening the industrial sector through energy efficiency can lead to significant reduction in production costs and subsequently increase the competitiveness of industries.
Energy efficiency not only reduces costs for big energy consumers, but also reduces the electricity generation costs. The Chief Executive Officer, Electricity Regulatory Authority, Engineer Zeria Tibara Wako, says inefficient usages affect energy equipment.
And for sustainability purposes, this standard comes in very handy. It reshapes our technical and managerial perspectives into the way we build new systems, into the way we build new approaches, and I believe this is going to be a very good tool to enhance our effectiveness. And when we do very well in managing such a big cost element in our operations, it means that finally, even as the product we give out will remain affordable to even the ordinary Uganda.
Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and Uganda National Bureau of Standards have launched ISO 50001, a new standard for energy management aimed at reducing energy use costs, hence increased profitability.
This energy management standard becomes part and parcel of an organization. The organization includes it in management structure. They will even have an energy manager in place. And that energy manager will be required to ensure that energy is used efficiently. Just like you have a quality manager, like you have a safety manager, no, they will be expected to have somebody managing energy. So it's just to help the industries reduce their energy costs, because energy now becomes as part and parcel of the organization structure.
Capacity has been built within the private sector and government to conduct energy audits, helping industries to save energy. This coupled with training lead auditors to implement this new standard.
We will continue with our sensitization programs, but in this case they will be customized to specific organizations. We will train our consultants just as we have done before. We will provide our technical support in terms of designing and implementing the ISO energy management system to all participating facilities.
Meanwhile, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Bill in Parliament, if passed into law, will help enforce minimum performance standards to eliminate counterfeits. I'm Nafka Farida and Daniel Mugoya in Kampala.
Now, State Minister for Investment Anita Evelyn says government will not allow quack investors into the country. Now, she has tasked the new Uganda Investment Authority Board, led by Emery Kugonza, to do due diligence and vet all potential investors before issuing them with licenses. Now, according to Anita, Uganda continues to attract investors in various sectors of the economy. However, some of them have a totally different agenda, which impacts negatively on Uganda's industrialization targets as well as middle-class status aspirations.
Kakamba, being a member of the Board of Directors of Uganda Investment Authority, swear that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal any matter to any person which shall be brought under my consideration
or shall come to my knowledge in the discharge of my official duties at Uganda Investment Authority,
except as may be required for the discharge of my official duties or as may be specifically permitted by the President. So help me God.
Allow me on behalf of the authority to thank you for always being available to the authority to support us in the discharge of our duties. You have always been available, even on phone call. This is a person that you will reach out to at any time and will give prompt response. And for that, I really want to thank you.
The biggest challenge we have been facing is not doing due diligence. That's why you're seeing white elephant projects. We attract quack investors, and that has to stop. Now, as the board, your responsibility is to vet, work together with the management to vet and work in line with the Financial Intelligence Authority to first ascertain if this investor who is coming to our country does actually have the the financial capabilities to put the infrastructure that we need to add value on our products, on our natural resources in the country. Because we have been attracting investors without checking the quality, and what have they been doing? They come and mortgage our land. My message to you as the newly inaugurated board is that do not allow anyone to mortgage the land that we give them as a facilitation, as an incentive for promoting investment in this country.
That was business news, but before we end that segment, let's have a look at how the shilling fared today against selected local and international currencies in our money market report. Let's cross borders now and we go to Sudan, where Sudan's former President Omar al-Bashir has been moved to Kobar maximum security prison days after he was deposed in a military coup. Now, reports say the ex-leader has until now been detained at the presidential residence under heavy guard. He is reportedly being held in solitary confinement and is surrounded by tight security. Now, months of protests in Sudan led to the ousting and arrest of the long-time ruler on Thursday. Until now, Mr. Bashir's whereabouts since his removal were unknown. The coup leader at the time, Awad Ibn Auf, said Mr. Bashir was being detained in a safe place. He himself stood down soon afterwards. Sports news now, and we begin with para badminton, where the national Scrabble team has been flagged off while the Uganda Badminton Federation has officially unveiled the upcoming third edition of the World Para Badminton Tournament that kickstarts 21st April this year at the MTN Arena in Lugogo.
27 countries from across the globe have confirmed participation in the third edition of the World Para Badminton Tournament, with over 200 players anticipated to take part in the competition. Mpinde Womali, Uganda Paralympic president, asserts that Uganda will use the competition to identify 8 players who will be put in camp ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games in Japan.
We have registered 35 athletes, but we are looking at the best 6 because it is not only about Uganda, it is about Africa, it is about the whole world. So we are looking at 6, not 35, though we are giving our athletes an opportunity to participate in these games, especially this international event where they are going to compete with people from Europe, Asia and the other parts of the country. So we are supposed to support them to see that they make it to Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
As host, first of all, is we give a chance to our players to be that they can be able to compete with international players. And of course, this tournament was sanctioned by BWF as the Olympic qualifier. So it is a world ranking tournament, and our players are going to benefit by earning points that can, if possible, earn them a chance to qualify for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
Para-athletes will participate in all the 6 classifications that include wheelchair 1 and 2, short stature, standing upper, SL3 and SL4. Elizabeth Moisigwa, SL3 para-badminton player, is optimistic that she will lift Uganda's flagship high in the upcoming encounter.
For the last time, it was too hard because the players, for them, they trained for a long time. For us, we have just started. And now, this time, we are also trying to reach on their levels. And I know this time, through your players, we are going to overcome them. Been concentrating on movement and positioning myself and going back and in front.
Elizabeth further adds that the team is constrained with limited funds, which might hinder their performance.
I appeal the government and our well-wishers to come and support us. We don't have water, we don't have equipments like racket, shuttles for using on the training as well as the tournament. I'm requesting everyone to come and support us, to come here and watch the game for para people, because also as we have, and I know if you come and support us, it's going to encourage us and to put us in the mood for the games.
Meanwhile, National Council of Sports has flagged off 8 players from the Uganda Scrabble Association ahead of the Scrabble Games in Zimbabwe due this month. Dr. Bosco Onyek, National Council of Sports Acting General Secretary, explained that government is committed to supporting all organized sports disciplines.
Government, we have obligations to ensure that we promote and develop all sports in this country. And Scrabble is one of the sports which is recognized by government.
We expect to win. We expect to make history for Uganda because we are on an upward curve.
Done qualifiers in Gulu, in Lira, Fort Portal, Cavalry, Kampala, and Jinja. And in each of those tournaments, we select the best players, and then they come together.
South Africa's top seed in the world, India lies second, and Uganda third in the Scrabble World Rankings. For UBC, Helen Barbara.
Netball news now on the assessment of the national netball team before the Netball World Cup in England continues. Now this Wednesday, the team trained outdoor in the scorching sun. Now some say it is lack of where to train from, while others claim it is just the change of the environment, as we hear from Amon Ngabo.
An outdoor training session attended by 17 members of the team. The national netball team are running out of time ahead of the Netball World Cup in Liverpool, England. 2 months to the competition, there is an outcry for training space. The team says one indoor stadium that has to be shared by different federations is forcing them to train outdoor. Setting to finish among the top 5, there is no time to rest. Looking at the available 12 slots for those to travel to England.
I think the previous games we are having, I think we lack that energy, the strength, and we need to work on that because netball is now, there is a lot of physicality in netball. So our girls at times they tend to be a little bit weaker, but we are working on that. The aggressiveness, the speed, the agility.
The weaknesses we had, as me, the captain, as I saw, especially the series we went for in the UK, and we came back, I had to talk about we need gym work. We need a lot of gymming to get the strength and energy compared to the players who are out there. They are too stronger than us and very faster than us. So we need to get some workouts which is going to make us reach their state.
On the team is Martha Soigi, Irene Akelo, Hindu Namtebi, Jessica Achan, Betty Kiza, and Liliana Ajio. 9 of the players summoned were not part of the World Cup qualifiers, calling for resilience to prove their worth to coach Vincent Chiwanuka and Nelson Bogere, who are in charge. Government is fully sponsoring the team's training program and is to hold different friendly games with Zimbabwe and Namibia before departure. Uganda is playing out of Group D alongside the hosts England, Scotland and Samoa. Ngabo Amon reporting for UBC TV.
And finally to football, and we're looking at the under 17 tournament that's currently taking place in Tanzania, and Uganda Cubs have registered their first victory at the under 17 Africa Cup of Nations with a convincing 3-0 win over hosts and bitter rivals Tanzania. Andrew Kawoya, Ivan Asaba and Najib Yiga were all on target as the Cubs recovered from the opening day blushes when they lost 1-0 to Angola. Now with Nigeria's earlier 1-0 win over a 10-man Angola side, Uganda remains in contention and eyes a berth to FIFA World Cup 2019. However, that can only come with a clear-cut victory over Nigeria on Saturday. Let's have those highlights. It is coming to 11 minutes to 11 p.m. here in the studios of UBC TV. We finally come to the end of news tonight. But before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our top stories. In our news tonight, Uganda Airlines planes on their way to Entebbe, Uganda. Colleges with few students, teachers to be closed. Parliament may take over UBC's magic 100 FM frequency. And in sports, World Para Badminton Games players update. And that's all we had time for. Thank you so much for having kept us company. Mugalu Mohammed has been on sign language, and I am Edward Rukidi Kijana Ngoma wishing you a blessed night. See you tomorrow, same time, same station. Ciao.